Most of the how to choose your hairstyle for your face shape videos are complete nonsense, and they show you like 9 different face shapes, so you leave the video feeling even more confused than when you got there. Not to mention, none of them are catered towards black men. Before we talk about face shapes, we're going to go over 3 things that I believe to be more important than face shape when it comes to choosing a hairstyle. First thing is your forehead. If you have a long forehead, I recommend longer styles that cover your forehead and a little bit more volume on the sides to balance things out. Here are some examples of hairstyles that can hide your forehead: locks, twists, afro with a taper, freeforms, and curls with short sides for those of you with looser hair. You should probably stay away from very short hairstyles like waves and hairstyles that pull on your hairline like cornrows, because your front taper will probably be very small considering your forehead is already on the larger side. If you have looser hair, you might be able to comb some hair down and create a lower hairline, although you'll have to put some kind of gel to keep it down. Also, if you don't know what a front taper is, it's basically a thin layer of hair that's cut short in front of the hairline to prevent pulling on the hairline, which can cause hair loss. Now, for those who want to opt for a shorter haircut, or maybe have short hair at the moment and are growing it out, you want to go with a style that looks more even all around. Very short hair on the sides and high on the top, or very angular on the top, will make your forehead appear bigger. You want to have a more rounded off style with maybe a temple fade or a mid fade on the side. Now, if you have a wider forehead, I recommend short on the sides and more volume on the top for this forehead type. Hairstyles like 2-strand twists or locks will work well because they give a curtain look to your head, so it'll balance things out and it makes your forehead appear to be smaller. Make sure your barber isn't pushing your vertical lines and your C-cups back, because they tend to cut too much hair when creating the hairline, and it can make your forehead appear even wider than it already is. If your forehead is on the smaller side, or if you have an extremely small forehead, styles like cornrows, braids, and dreads usually look good. You also can get away with having a bigger taper because it mainly balances out the styles and makes your forehead seem slightly bigger. You can also rock most short styles with a smaller forehead, because if it ever seems too small, you can always push it back a little bit without worrying. Also, you should probably not rock hairstyles that come forward on your forehead, like hairstyles that cover your forehead, because the upper half of your face is probably smaller than most people, and it'll make your face seem a lot more compact, which is not a very balanced look. The second most important thing is your hairline. If you have a hairline that kind of naturally curves upwards, know that your corners will be slightly pushed back to align with the middle, so consider this when getting lineups. If you have a cowlick or a widow's peak, it's kind of the same thing, because the barber will start your lineup at the highest point of your hairline and go straight across. In a lot of cases, the widow's peak will be cut off unless you ask the barber not to do so. If your hairline is slightly receding, consider products like minoxidil or rosemary oil. Rosemary oil is actually known to be the better option because it has similar effects to minoxidil without the side effects. Minoxidil is known to have plenty of side effects. I've never experienced any myself, but you should definitely do your own research to be safe. The third thing is your face structure and sharpness. If you have sharp facial features, hairstyles that accentuate your face shape are best. Don't go for styles that hide your face or that have so much going on that it takes attention away from your features. And if you have softer features, which most people do, you will want to go with more structured styles. A random tip I have for you guys is don't choose your hairstyles based on what you see celebrities doing. It won't look the same on you because a lot of celebrities look so good that they can basically pull anything off. Another important thing is hair texture and maintenance. Guys, be realistic about the haircuts you can get with your hair type. For example, if you have really loose curls and you want dreads, they might not look like this, but rather like this. And your hair thickness is very important too, because you might see someone on the internet that seems to have the same type of hair as you, but if your hair is thinner, the same style will look vastly different. We also have to take into account how slow black hair can grow sometimes. This obviously isn't the case for everyone. Some people's hair grows really fast, and sometimes your hair might just be growing slowly because it's not healthy. It's also very important to consider how much time it'll take to maintain certain styles, and whether you have the time or energy to do so. Locks, for example, is a high maintenance style contrary to popular belief, and you'll have to consider this if you want your locks to look presentable. Let me know in the comments if you guys would like to see a video on hair maintenance for black men. Now let's get into face shapes. So we have 4 main face shapes that I think most people will fall into. You probably won't fall into any exact shape, you might be a combination of 2. The first one is an oval face shape. This is a great face shape to have because most styles will work. Short hair with a taper fade, curly or kinky, or longer hair with a taper. Other examples are dreads and freeforms. When it comes to shorter styles, it'll depend on how sharp your features are. The sharper your jawline and eyes are, the better short hair will look on you, regardless of face shape. But with an oval face shape, you must really consider this, including your head shape, because shorter hair will always give your face a more rounded look. You can also sculpt your beard to give yourself a more angular face so that shorter styles still work. Next is square face shape. A lot of short styles will look good with a square face shape, although it still depends on how sharp your facial features are. Generally, I find that more rounded styles like an afro or an afro with a taper, a short afro, or freeforms and waves will look good with this face shape. You can even rock a bald or buzz cut if your head isn't a weird shape. Next, we have the round face shape. Generally, you want to have a more angular hairstyle if you have a round face. Tied on the sides and longer on the top usually works well. Dreadlocks look good as well because it kind of creates curtains to your face and it creates a more angular look. Same with twists and box braids. I would say avoid styles that make your face look more round. Like a buzz cut or a really short haircut like waves might not be the best cut for someone with a round face. Now when it comes to longer hairstyles that are rounded, it really depends on the way your jaw is shaped. If you have a more angular jawline, you can get away with having more volume on the top or more rounded shapes. But if you have a really soft and rounded jaw, that might not be the best option for you because it will accentuate the roundness of your face. Styles with short sides and volume on the top will elongate your face a little, so it tends to work well. You can also rock shorter styles and get away with it by using facial hair. You do this by cutting it in a way that gives your face a more angular look. Next we have the triangle face shape. With this, many hairstyles will work. Short on the sides or more rounded sides. Even longer hairstyles will look good with this face shape. Hairstyles with a more rounded top, like a curly afro for looser hair. If you don't have loose curls, you can just rock freeforms or just a kinky fro. Doing this gives a good contrast to the way that this face shape is naturally angular. A picked out afro will probably look good as well, but I feel like we're veering away from this hairstyle in 2024 and it's hard to pull off. I also recommend growing a beard if you can because you'll give your lower face a wider look and you'll be able to rock a lot more styles. When it comes to hairstyles like dreads, it's really hit or miss and it kind of depends on a lot of other things that we discussed at the beginning of the video, so if you follow that you should be good. One thing I will say is that hairstyles that are really high on the top and short on the sides are not good for this face shape. They'll make your face appear longer, which is just not a good look for this specific face shape. Click this to see the hairstyles you should never rock in 2024. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.